At the confluence of music, literacy, and inclusion is this book, and an author of it that I'm proud to introduce. Dr. Meredith Taylor Strout is with us today to talk about the More the Merrier and all of those components. Thank you for being with us. First things first, the More the Merrier.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
So I wrote the More the Merrier as kind of a platform to teach children how to be inclusive. So the book is geared toward ages 4 to 8 years old, and the message of the book is to include other children within their circle. So it's a multi-sensory book. It includes instruments, which is really cool too. So there's a different component to that.
I was going to say, okay, children's books. There are countless of them out there, all teaching good lessons, but now you're folding in these actual instruments where they are part of the actual book themselves. So I've got the maracas, we've got tambourines, we've got other instruments out there. How do they play a part in a book?
Right, so it's a hands-on learning component. Reading can be boring for children, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So to have instruments that kind of go along with the storyline, it makes it a little bit more fun, a little bit more interactive. And the overall storyline of the book is that one of the characters receives an instrument kit, and she wants to hear all the sounds playing together, but she realizes that there's 5 instruments and she only has 2 hands. So she goes to the park, she includes other people, and then at the end of the story, they're all playing the musical instruments together, and they kind of form this band at the end of the story where they're, using the instruments, playing with them, and having a good time.
Oh my
all
gosh.
included together.
That's so great. So it weaves right on in where the young learner and reader can play along and follow along the story. Macrocosmically, if you take a step back, what is the intertwining of music and literacy? They're connected, aren't they?
They are. It's the rhythmic component of it. I mean, for early literacy, one of the things that you can do with children is have them listen to nursery rhymes, hickory dickory dock. The mouse went up the clock.
Yes.
Things like that.
Yeah.
Row, row, row your boat. So it's the rhythm, I think, with early literacy that makes that connection with music. And all the instruments are percussion instruments, which allows you to, you can shake them in a rhythmic pattern.
Yeah.
You can tap them in a rhythmic pattern. They all make different types of sounds. So I think it's the rhythm that's really the effective part of it with early literacy.
Yeah, and it can be intimidating for kids to, learn to read. But now when all of a sudden you're breaking it down into sounds, melodies, and rhythms, I would imagine it's much more attractive and much more available for kids.
It is,
Yeah.
and it's a great tool to use, at the preschool level when children are really wanting to have those manipulatives and those things that they can touch and feel. Like I said, it is multisensory because you can hear the sounds, you can touch the instruments, so that's really great. Great at the elementary level because of the message it has with trying to include others within their circle. So it is a great book for all ages, music educators, elementary, and even toddler or preschool teachers.
And forgive me, your doctorate is in?
Yes, so my doctorate's in the remediation and prevention of reading and language disabilities.
Okay.
So mostly I worked with children who had reading differences, and I worked with teachers on teaching them how to make appropriate modifications and accommodations within the classroom.
Wow.
Related to reading.
Yeah, so you're not a writer,
I'm not a writer. This is my first book.
Yeah.
But like I said, I really wanted to encompass the whole multisensory approach to it, just to make it a little bit more engaging and a little bit more fun. And usually when I go out to the classroom and read the book, I keep the instruments with me first. Obviously, they're introduced in the story, and then I will read the story with the students, talk about the different types of instruments within the book, and then at the end of the story, I will provide them with the instruments so that they can kind of play and then share them with each other within the classroom.
So within all of your voluminous studies,
Yes.
what does the data, what are best practices, what is science, what does it all say about how kids learn best?
So it comes down to using a multisensory approach. I think anytime we can use different parts of our brain, I think that's the most effective way in learning anything, really. When you're touching something, when you're hearing something, when you're feeling it, the vibrations, a lot of these instruments provide vibrations as well. So I think the most effective approach with anything is just having this multisensory approach to learning. And then when you can encompass any type of literacy component into that, it's just, it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah. Not every kid is a great reader off the bat, but every kid can make noises off the bat.
Exactly, and
so
enjoy it.
that's part of your kind of this inclusiveness that's broader than just being inclusive interpersonally.
Correct.
I mean, this
correct.
is your entryway where you're bringing everyone in all at once and really pumping up kids' confidence.
Exactly, yeah, and it's a really fun dynamic to see children within the classroom, you know, talk about when they felt left out, when they felt included, and just kind of start that dialogue within the classroom about what are some ways that you can include other people. And obviously sharing instruments, making a band, having fun is a great way, but really just extending a smile, providing a compliment. There's lots of other ways, and when I talk about that within the classroom when I go out and do read-alouds, but it's just sometimes a simple way to bring somebody's mood up or to make them feel better is a little compliment or a little smile across the classroom. So the book is multifaceted, but I think the most important component is just making kids feel welcome, making them feel included, making them feel part of a community.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Oh, it's so amazing because, you know, you think about blending colors and you want them all to create a new color. I feel like this is what the book does. You're teaching so many different lessons simultaneously, but it's its own thing.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. It's a really special project.
What was your motivation? Because you were a successful professor at the University of Florida, and now you're branching out, and suddenly you are educator turned children's author.
I know. Well, I think the biggest motivating factor for me was as a teacher when I taught, just seeing children, it really pulled on my heartstrings to see children being left out, whether
Yeah.
that was in the lunchroom, whether it was in the playground, just excluded from things. So I really wanted to create a book that taught children at an early age how to bring people in. So if you see somebody in the playground by themselves, you know, playing by themselves, go over and introduce yourself and have them come over to be part of your group, to be included. So that just, it pulled on my heartstrings for such a long time. And I said, gosh, what can I create that will allow children an opportunity to have fun with the instruments and also the overall message of including others.
Yeah.
So it was a really special project for a great cause because I did hate seeing kids being left out. And even as a parent, when your child gets
absolutely.
left out, it's very hurtful.
That's right.
So it's something that I wanted to kind of create to encourage children and teach children. When you include others, it brings joy to you, it brings joy to them. It's just overall a great experience.
Yeah, we're sitting here having this conversation as a journalist and an author, but relating both as parents
Exactly.
of kids who have gone through it, and obviously our audience as well.
Right.
Oh
right.
my goodness.
Yes.
All right, so this is what I love so much about this again, is the entry to it is universal with musical instruments, letting down that intimidation factor, and then you really kind of weave through this tale of inclusion for these kids in the book, all while young readers get to play and read along.
Exactly,
It's
right.
amazing.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, and
Wow.
I also have some supplemental lesson plans for preschool age, 3, 4, and 5 for preschool teachers. And then I have supplemental lesson plans for teachers at the elementary level, kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. And it's also great for music educators. So
Education is big here.
education is big, yes. Yeah, when you can make it fun, you know, something innovative, something fun, it's a great way to, you know, bring it into the classroom and make learning fun,
Yeah.
which is what it should be.
Thank you so much for
Thank
stopping by.
you.
The More the Merrier by Dr. Meredith Taylor Strout is on sale now. You can just go to Amazon, grab it there, or anywhere else where you get children's books. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.